Not every form of disrespect comes with yelling. Sometimes it comes with a smile, with good manners, with a calm tone, with words that sound perfectly acceptable. And that is exactly why it is harder to detect. Because they do not insult you directly. They do not attack you in an obvious way. They do not create a scene. But by the end of the interaction, something inside you feels off. You feel diminished, corrected, placed slightly lower, as if someone made you smaller without giving you a clear reason to complain. And that is the trap. Because everything sounds polite, if you react, you can end up looking like the problem. And while you are still wondering whether it was that serious, the other person has already left their mark. In this video, we are going to look at the polite way people disrespect you, what it looks like in real life, why so many people fail to notice it in time, and what signs show that you are not dealing with politeness, but with condescension.
There is a huge difference between being polite and using politeness as a disguise. A truly polite person keeps the interaction respectful without reducing you. A condescending person does something else. They speak to you correctly, but from above. They do not need to humiliate you openly. It is enough to correct you as if they know better than you. To explain obvious things as if you cannot see them. To dismiss your point with such calmness that you end up looking like the unstable one. And that is where the problem starts. Because many people do not disrespect you by breaking the atmosphere. They do it while keeping the atmosphere perfectly intact, while lowering your position. That detail changes everything. They do not destroy the form. They wear down your place. And because the form still looks correct, it becomes much harder to defend yourself without feeling like you are creating an unnecessary problem.
What does this look like in real life? It looks like phrases such as, "Let me explain it better. I don't think you're really understanding it. No, that's not how it is. What you actually mean is this. I'm only saying this for your own good. You're mixing things up." And it is not always the phrase itself. It is the place it comes from. The tone, the certainty, the way the other person places themselves above your judgment, above your reading, above your words. It also shows up in small corrections in front of others, in condescending smiles, in light jokes that lower you a level without sounding openly aggressive, in that kind of treatment that, if you point it out, seems too small to challenge. But if it keeps repeating, it changes the whole dynamic. And that is the point. Elegant disrespect is rarely trying to leave one big wound. It is trying to establish position.
A lot of the time, this form of disrespect works because it leans on a very common confusion. We confuse softness with respect, but they are not the same thing. Just because someone speaks softly does not mean they respect you. Just because someone does not yell does not mean they are treating you well. Just because someone uses the right words does not mean they are not reducing you. In fact, some of the most uncomfortable dynamics enter in exactly that way. With a soft voice, with a measured smile, with with phrases presented as help, advice, or clarification. And while everything looks correct, you are losing space. You start doubting whether you understood things correctly, whether your discomfort makes sense, whether it would be ridiculous to say anything. And that is where the other person gains the advantage. They do not just reduce you, they make you reduce yourself.
Una de las razones que esto duele tanto es porque ataca algo muy específico, tu legitimidad. No te dicen siempre tienes valor. Eso sería demasiado obvio. Hacen algo más sutil. Te hacen sentir que tu lectura importa menos, que tu forma de ver las cosas necesita corrección, que tu juicio necesita supervisión, que tu voz necesita ajuste. Y repetido a lo largo del tiempo, eso empieza a cambiar cómo entras a la interacción. Ya no hablas de la misma forma, ya no mantienes tus puntos de la misma forma, ya no nombras la incomodidad con la misma fuerza. Te empiezas a medir más. Y cuando alguien te hace gestionarte a sí mismo para no verte mal delante de ellos, ya han ganado mucho terreno. Por eso, esta aparente forma de respeto no es inofensiva, porque no afecta solo el momento, afecta tu posición interior.
So how do you know you are not just dealing with a strong personality or a direct way of speaking? By the effect. Ask yourself this. After talking to that person, do you feel clearer or smaller? Because someone can be firm and still respect you. They can disagree with you and still leave space. They can correct something specific without making you feel less. A condescending person leaves a different kind of trace. They do not just correct you, they reposition you. They make you feel more foolish than you were, more immature than you were, more confused than you actually were, smaller than when you entered. And when that becomes repetitive, you are no longer looking at a small communication issue. You are looking at a dynamic of superiority.
Here comes another uncomfortable truth. A lot of people tolerate this kind of treatment because they do not want to seem conflictive. They think, maybe that's just how they talk, maybe I took it too personally, maybe they were actually trying to help. It's better if I just let it go. And that is how the dynamic settles in. Because the other person learns something very useful. They can reduce you without paying a real social cost for it. They can correct you. They can infantilize you. They can smile while placing you lower. And everything keeps flowing. That turns disrespect into a habit. And when a habit is installed, one big offense is no longer necessary. The hierarchy is already in place. What signs show that this is already happening? First sign, you leave the conversation feeling diminished, even though you cannot point to one clear act of aggression. Second sign, the other person looks perfectly fine on the outside, while you are left carrying the discomfort. Third sign, they correct you more than necessary, especially in small things or in front of others. Fourth sign, they use calmness or helpful language to weaken your point. Fifth sign, if you try to name the discomfort, you end up looking like the problem for reacting. Sixth sign, little by little, you start entering the interaction already more measured. And that last one matters a lot,
Because once someone has made you self-correct before you even speak, the disrespect has stopped being a moment. It has become structure.
So what changes this dynamic? First, stop looking only at the form. Do not evaluate only whether the person was polite. Evaluate the real effect of the way they treat you. Second, stop confusing good manners with elegant superiority. Not everything that sounds correct is clean. Third, do not rush to invalidate your discomfort just because there was no yelling. If something left you reduced, displaced, or smaller, that is already information. And fourth, when someone uses form to lower your position, you do not always need to respond more aggressively. Sometimes what changes the dynamic most is simply refusing to give away your legitimacy so easily. Not correcting yourself immediately. Not apologizing for existing in the conversation. Not turning your reading into something fragile just because the other person spoke with certainty. Because a lot of people do not hold power because they are right. They hold power because the other person gives way too soon. At the beginning of the video, the idea was simple. There is a polite way to disrespect you. Now you know what it looks like. It does not always show up as rudeness. A lot of the time, it shows up as condescension, as unnecessary correction, as kindness used from above, as calmness that does not protect you, but reduces you. And this is the final idea I want to leave with you. Not every form of disrespect comes to destroy you openly. Sometimes it comes well-dressed, well-spoken, and perfectly measured, so that it takes you longer to see it. And once you understand that, you start noticing much earlier the difference between someone who truly treats you with respect and someone who only uses good manners to place themselves above you. If you want to keep learning how to detect these dynamics before it is too late, subscribe to Patterns of Power.